This is the obstacle of all obstacles to reach heaven. It's the way we look at things. Let me give you a little bit of background with the story of Balaam. The Israelites were progressing consistently through the desert, and they were about to get to the land of Canaan and to enter their promised land. He was hired by the king of Moab, Balak, to try to hold them back. Because, of course, everybody's afraid of them. So he knew that militarily he cannot win. They tried it before. All these other nations that the Israelites didn't want to fight. They just wanted to come to walk through their territory to enter, to reach Zion. And they won't let them. They would go out and fight them. So by the time they got to Moab, to the mountains of Moab, then it was already very close to the land. And of course the king of Moab didn't want this powerful nation in his backyard. So he hires this man, Balaam, who is known to somehow be a prophet of the nation. He's the only prophet of the nation. The Talmud says he was as powerful as Moses. Moses was powerful in Israel, and Balaam was as powerful in the nation. So he had prophetic power. He knew what he said happened. So Balak, the king of Moab, hires him, gives him a ton of money, and says, do it. Curse the Israelites, so that somehow they won't be able to go through. Right? Now, I'm going to pause for a second. The Talmud says, why did every time he was trying to curse the people, he somehow ended up blessing them? And of course, his signature blessing, which is actually came from the serpent, right? But we use it every morning. This is how we open our tefillah, our prayer, with saying what Balaam was trying to curse us, but it turned out to be a blessing. Why? Which blessing was that? How beautiful your tents, Jacob. And your pleasant tents, pleasant dwelling. How beautiful your tents, and mishkenotecha Israel, your dwellings, Israel. He came to curse these dwellings, right? And we will understand what his curse was trying to achieve. But it ended up being the most beautiful blessing. How beautiful your tents, Jacob. Your dwellings, Israel. Why? So the Talmud asked, what did he see that he ended up that most powerful magician, right, in the nations to change his mind? Instantaneously repent, in a sense, right? His view. What did he see? So the Talmud says, what he saw is exactly how we fight the distraction that keeps us from looking up. What did he see? He saw that the dwellings of the Israelites, the tents, were not facing each other. They were facing away from each other's doors, giving each other privacy. Giving up on thinking that just because I see you now walk out of the pharmacy, that you're sick. Not to be distracted by our eyes, by our ears, all that. This is the Shema that we say twice a day. Don't be distracted. What you see is so small out of the big picture. You could say 1/70th, because there are 70 views to the Torah that maybe cover it. But even if it's just 1/70th, that's a very small, right, window that we look through. Why do we assume that we know everything? That's how we become our own gods. This idol worshiping that they're talking about. When we look at each other and we think that because I just saw you, I can now know what you did, what you're doing, what you will be doing. No. Leave that to God. Don't be distracted by your neighbor. Love thy neighbor. But love thy neighbor, it's loving your neighbor through God. Through looking this way, not through looking directly at what they're doing. That is not going to help you. That's going to distract you. Because that's going to be the reality shows that why do I care? I can't manage my own life. Can't keep up with my own life. I'm going to keep up with someone else that's not even real in my life, and that's the whole thing is not real. I guess you know my view on reality shows. But really, concentrate on looking up. Even when you see our rabbis tell us, your neighbor, when we say love thy neighbor, it's loving thyself. Your neighbor is you. You're not doing your neighbor a favor if you love them or respect them, right? Respect their boundaries. I mean, that's what it's really all about. So, Balaam comes from the word Balaam even, means to swallow a nation. Balaam. He swallowed a nation. So he represents exactly the dark forces of trying to control your mind, to distract you from looking up. So we choose in our lives, are we a Balaam? Are we want to have a limited view that we then assume everything, that we know everything? Or we want to be like the candles, right? That what we see just points us to what we don't see. And if we do that, I think that's the recipe for peace, because then all the candles are up. No one is, firing at each other. Only fire that goes up to God. Okay. Thank you.